Chapter 4 The Imperial Rose Throne. Xue Meigui. Lin Fan, the new chairman of the global group. Looking at Lin Fan's photos, Xu Tianlong could feel that his heart was about to pop out from his chest. This was his ultimate boss. So how could he not feel overexcited? Ding, ding, ding. Right at this moment, the ringing of a notification from a cell phone sounded. Huh! Xu Tianlong cocked his eyebrows when he saw the called ID showing his son, Xu Ziheng. He could not help but felt a flash of impatience before picking up the call. Speak. Xu Tianlong was speaking with an apathetic tone. However, a surprising sobbing tone came from the phone. Dad, help me. I almost died. You must help me seek revenge. What? As soon as these words were out, Xu Tianlong's expression changed drastically. In Zheng City, there was no one who did not know Xu Tianlong or the Tianlong group. How was it possible that there was someone who dared make a move on his son, especially in a way that had almost killed him? This person deserved nothing but death. What happened? Who did it? Xu Tianlong's voice gradually became cold and distant. He was like a ferocious tiger that was suppressing his fiery anger. Upon hearing this voice, Xu Ziheng, who was on the other end of the phone, was feeling ecstatic. However, he still pretended to speak in a frightened voice. Dad, I was hit by a Mercedes-Benz just now. My Lamborghini had completely turned into scraps. I also almost died in the car. Boom! As soon as this statement was out, the ferociousness from Xu Tianlong's body permeated out into the air. His murderous intent and fiery anger became more and more vigorous. And there was more. Dad, the person who crashed into me is from the Bai family. The one who drove the car was the worthless live-in son-in-law of the Bai family, Lin Fan. You have to avenge me. You should immediately send someone to catch him. I want to beat him up. Give him a taste of what it's like to be hit by a car. What? Lin Fan. Hearing this sentence had made Xu Tianlong felt like he was getting struck by lightning. He felt lightheaded and almost passed out. He hurried to the computer to take a look at Lin Fan's information. His eyelids twitched non-stop as he asked in a deep voice. Ziheng. Speak clearly. That Lin is that Lin Fan, Bai Yi's husband. Huh. Xu Ziheng was slightly stunned. He did not expect that his father had also heard of this person, so he stated quickly. That's right. Dad. It was this little bastard. Help me kill me. Kill him. Silence. At this moment, Xu Ziheng noticed that his father's end of the line was completely silent right after he finished uttering this sentence. In particular, there was a constant wheeze-wheeze panting sound coming from a harsh-sounding voice, as if it was a tiger raging in anger. Dad. You? Xu Ziheng immediately wanted to inquire. Just as his words had been spoken, Xu Tianlong's roaring growl came instantly from the other end of the phone. Mother F******, Xu Ziheng. You little bastard. Do you want to see me dead that badly? I demand you to quickly search for Mr. Lin, kowtow, and apologize to him. If he does not forgive you, I will be the first one to find someone to kill you. Toot toot toot. After a deafening shout, a tone of disconnection came from the phone. Xu Ziheng. He was completely muddle-headed. Clearly, he almost died. Why did he have to apologize to that Lin guy? What the is he really my biological father? What happened? As Xu Ziheng was lost in confusion, he could hear faint sounds coming from the phone call made by Zhang Tian, who was right next to him. Similarly, there was also a voice berating in anger and fear. Zhang Tian, you little bastard had caused such big trouble. Damn you. How dare you offend Mr. Lin? Hurry up and apologize to Mr. Lin. Otherwise, you are no longer my son. Get lost from now on. I will no longer recognize you little bastard as my son. Zhang Tian, looking at the hung-up phone in his hand. Zhang Tian was similarly dumbfounded. suspecting he had mistaken someone for his father. In particular, when he saw that Xu Ziheng's expression was equally confused, a bad hunch emerged in their minds. Ziheng, we seem to be in big trouble. At that moment, the two young ruffians could feel their scalps bursting instantly. They simply could not imagine that both of their fathers could be frightened to such an extent by that Lin Fan. What kind of scary man is he? Hurry, use all our connections. We must find Lin Fan. Hurry up. We are so dead if Lin Fan was to find us first. Xu Ziheng shuddered and shook with fear, before making a terrifying shrieking sound. Within one moment, the two young ruffians were like ants on a hot pot, urgently using their personal connections to make phone calls, and launched a crazy search party to find Lin Fan. Even Lin Fan could not possibly imagine this. At this moment, the entire Zheng city was completely shaken up. The sky slowly changed into the dark shade of night. However, the largest clubhouse in Zheng city, the Golden Age Clubhouse, was, as usual, full of brilliant lights and crowds. A Mercedes-Benz was parked at the entrance of the Golden Age Clubhouse. The man and woman who walked out of the car were no other than Lin Fan and Bai Yi. Bai Yi's pretty face was still a little pale, and there were so many worries and solemn emotions contained in between her fine brows. After all, it was the two young ruffians of Zheng City that they had offended this time around. Thinking about the troubles they would face in the future made Bai Yi quiver. Bai Yi, why did you arrive so late? At this moment, a melodious voice resembling a tinkling silver bell sounded, as they saw a beautiful woman in a gorgeous long dress walked quickly towards them. This woman was Bai Yi's classmate and close friend Wen Qian. However, after she saw Lin Fan next to Bai Yi, Wen Qian's fine brows immediately knitted. A thick disgust and disdain appeared on her face. Why did you bring him along? And he is dressed like a beggar. It's so shabby looking. Aren't you afraid that our old classmates would make fun of him? When Qian's words were uttered without any mercy, instantly, it made Bai Yi felt a little embarrassed. However, before waiting for Bai Yi to reply, when Qian's eyes turned to stare at Lin Fan, then spoke with arrogance. Hey, you old bumpkin. What are you doing here? Don't you know this is our class reunion party? If you happen to let other classmates see you, don't you think you'll embarrass Bai Yi? Hurry up and get lost. Go back to whence you came. Gross. Wen Qian's words were extremely harsh and mean. In an instant, Lin Fan frowned slightly. It's none of your business. What? Wen Qian and Bai Yi both froze upon hearing this. From their impressions, Lin Fan was usually cowardly and lowly. Even when he was pointed at and scolded, he would still greet all of that with a smile on his face. They never thought that Lin Fan would rebuke so impolitely. You? Wen Qian's face was choked to a bright red. She was pointing at Lin Fan but was somehow speechless. Taking a deep breath, she was able to smooth out her angry emotion. She could not help but started laughing from anger. Fine. Since you are not afraid of embarrassing yourself. Come on then. Today, you'll get to see various aspects of society and learn your place. HMPH. This place charges 10,000 per person. What a steal for a hillbilly like you. After finished talking, Wen Qian pulled Bai Yi toward the inside of the clubhouse, without taking a single glance at Lin Fan. Lin Fan shrugged lightly and followed behind them. The Golden Age Clubhouse. It was a luxurious clubhouse with integrated catering and entertainment. On the first floor was the bar. Once entered, you could hear the loud roaring. It was noisy and dim. Everyone inside was swaying their bodies like wild horses that were let loose. A scene of revelry and debauchery, as everyone indulged in a life of luxury. And just after walking in, Lin Fan's eyes were involuntarily attracted by a booth seat set at the highest point. The booth seat was located at the highest point of the bar, looking down from the top, like it was dominating everything. This booth seat was like the throne of this bar, standing high above all, where one can only arch their head up to look at it. It was not just that. Only one person was sitting on the wide booth seat. A voluptuous woman in a long red dress. She was like the queen of the entire clubhouse. A pair of delicate hands were swaying the red wine glass around, tasting the wine lightly while showing an air of dignity and disposition, making others' hearts pound for her. It seems that when Qian happened to see Lin Fan's gaze, walking in front, a look of contempt and rumination can't help but appear on her face. You are such a hillbilly. Never seen it before. Have you? Let me tell you. That is the Imperial Rose throne of the Golden Age Clubhouse. It is also a private booth seat for the owner of this place, Shui Meigui. Apart from her, no one is allowed to sit on it. Shui Meigui. These two words were very unfamiliar to Lin Fan. But there was no one who did not know these words in the entirety of Zheng City. She was known for swift and silent kills that left no bloodstains, but if there were blood, those were surely the blood of her dead enemies. Shui Meigui was exceptionally adept in trickery. She was involved in both legal and illegal trades which she was notoriously known for. No one would ever dare to mess with her. Even Bai Yi's pretty face paled upon hearing these two words. She dared not stop walking but continued towards the second floor with Wen Qian. But behind them, Lin Fan's brows crinkled. I am not sure why. He felt that the person known as Shui Meigui looked a little familiar, like he had seen her somewhere before. Lin Fan shook his head lightly and decided not to care about that right now. Then, he followed them to the second floor. Meanwhile, seated on the Imperial Rose throne, Shui Meigui calmly tasted her red wine while looking at a photo in her hand. She looked surprised, confused, grateful, and excited. Turns out you are my boss. Shui Meigui looked at the man in the picture in her hand. At this moment, it felt like she had traveled back to 10 years ago. At that time, she was still a little girl. Her family had faced a drastic change, and her parents and relatives were all killed by an international group of ferocious tycoons who were seeking revenge. And just when she thought that she was surely going to die, a boy had appeared. The boy was only 13 or 14 years old, but his monstrous abilities were way beyond everyone's imagination. There were 32 gold medal level assassins under that ferocious international tycoon, but all of them died in the hands of the boy. Right till the end. Even that international big boss also died in the hands of the boy. He saved her life. Shui Meigui would never be able to forget that boy's young but determined face because he was her benefactor. After she was all grown up and became the owner of the Golden Age Club, she still continued to use her connections to search for the whereabouts of her benefactor. That was until today, when the people higher up sent a photo to her. Only then did she realize that her benefactor from back then was her current boss, working from behind the scenes. Although 10 years have passed, I will never forget your face for the rest of my life. Shui Meigui stared at the photo, feeling surprised but hesitant. The man in this photo was no other than Lin Fan. And right at this moment, Shui Meigui saw from the corner of her eyes a figure had just walked up to the second floor. Her delicate body shivered fiercely. She was almost finding it hard to believe in her own eyes. He is. At this moment, her whole body rubbed against the booth seat, before standing up, and comparing the photo in her hand with the face of the man standing in front, until she was sure that they were the same person. Boom! The expression on her pretty face completely changed. As though she was in a frenzy, she quickly walked down from her booth seat,